So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to today's pre-inaugural orientation for the confirmed youth MPs for the composition of the 6th Parliament. Let's start with a short word of prayer. In the name of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I am John Samikashibiglu. I'm the Executive Director. I'm one of your facilitators. We would also have Amanona, who is the Deputy Executive Director, Parliamentary Affairs for Youth Impact Movement. And then we'll be having Adam Osman, who is the current Speaker of Parliament and Acting Administrative Director for Youth Impact Movement. Today's session is going to be elaborate in terms of parliamentary procedures, about who we are, and then what is going to happen on that day will be as precise as possible. I'll be your first facilitator, and then whenever Amano joins, he would also contribute. But in the interim, after we are done with our presentations, then the Right Honourable Speaker will take over to present on parliamentary procedures. So to start with, many of you see Youth Impact Parliament as one of these other youth groups. I'm sure you see it as one of these other youth groups. But we are not just one of these. We are Youth Impact Parliament, Ghana's first bicameral youth legislature. We are the most vibrant youth parliament in the entire of Ghana. We are in South Africa, we are in Kenya, we are in Uganda, we are in Namibia, we are in India, and in addition to Ghana. So this is a big community you are joining. And what do we stand for? Capacity building, volunteerism, building your capacity for leadership, building your public speaking skills, giving you exposure and teaching you more, and increasing your opportunities to network. As a youth parliament, we have been to Parliament of Ghana 3 times. We are recognized by the Office of the Speaker of Parliament, Public Affairs Directorate, and many sitting members of Parliament know about us. They have been to our sitting, our inaugurations, and ceremonies many times. We've even had ministers of state who have come to attend to us and understand how we are doing. And anytime they come, they say that have they been given the opportunity, have they been given the opportunity before coming to Parliament to go through Youth Impact Parliament, they would have been better off in terms of performance. They wouldn't spend 1 year in Parliamentary Class 1. And people like Edem Agbana, who has gone through a similar tutorship, you can testify to how he's handling the first term. You think he's a 3rd term or 5th termer. It is because he has felt his capacity ready for the job. That is why he becomes a point of reference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you straight the arrangements for the D-Day. Then from there, Amana will make his presentation. Then we'll have Right Honourable Adam Osman take us through the parliamentary procedures. The standing orders, I'm sure it was shared on the page. The first people who join. And anyone who is added obviously has been given the opportunity to check old messages. But however, when the speaker presents, you get to know more about what is going on. Now, for the D-Day, the program is scheduled to start. We'll be having 2 sessions on Saturday, 8th August 2026. The venue is HTUS RCJCR at 9 a.m. On that Saturday, we'll be starting the dissolution sitting. The dissolution sitting is similar to what happens in the Parliament of Ghana, where Parliament is officially dissolved. But let's take note that Parliament in its own nature does not end. But the people who operate Parliament need to renew their contract with their electors or their voters. That's why we dissolve Parliament officially to end one's mandate and inaugurate within the shortest possible time to start another person's mandate. So on that day, from 9 a.m., the Fifth Parliament will start its dissolution proceedings, formal remarks, and then report on confirmed youth MPs, the adoption of the nominees for leadership roles, swearing in of clerks, and then dissolution remarks by the leaders of the House, including members. Then from there, by 12 o'clock immediately, by 12 p.m. promptly, we'll start the inaugural ceremony, which will be presided by the clerk to preside until the nomination of the speaker to be, of whom you already know, and then secondment, and then the person is declared elected. Then the speaker swears you all in as members of Parliament. Then the deputy speakers are nominated. And then from there, we go on with addresses and reports, awards, and then all those and other activities that we have planned for that day. And then after all those are done, we'll be having a couple of guests. We have invited the Member of Parliament for a catching of Honorable Peter Nochukote. I invited the Deputy CEO for National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Senani Jogoto, and then Mama Bobby, the third, Afetonionufia of the state. Other people will also come, and then they all make their addresses. And then at the end of it, we would launch our website. So after the guests are done, then we would have a little break to take our lunch, and then we continue with the inaugural proceedings where some addresses are read. And then afterwards, committee on selection is formed, a few debates, and then we close for the day. By 3, 4 to 5, we should be done. And obviously, we are making an arrangement to have local bar so that you can put something within your throat. And then your attendance and stuff. So everyone is to have a congratulatory flyer, which is to inform that you have been appointed for a particular role. You already know the birthday flyers are done prior to your birthdays. If you give information, and then official flyers are done. For appointment letters, they are done upon request because it's not everyone that appears to appreciate appointment letters. So if you need one, you place the request and then it will be made available to you. So that is the arrangement for that day. I think if you know you are not going to be present, it's important to write a letter to the office of the speaker to inform that you will not be present on that day, because we will start taking attendance on that day. And I know Mr. Speaker will speak on attendance issues, so let's take note. So please note your questions down. After all the presentations, we'll answer all of them for you. On this note, I would like to invite Mr. Aman Odina, who is the Deputy Executive Director of Youth Impact Movement, in charge of Parliamentary Affairs, to make his presentation. And then from there, we'll move on to the next presenter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody on the call. I'm sure everybody can hear me. And kindly forgive me, my current location, my internet is bad. So at some point in time, it will be breaking. So kindly forgive me if it happens along the line. But this presentation will equally be brief, as Honorable Jones' own has been, is very brief. This is a pre-inaugural presentation to make you aware of the modalities of our operations and how Youth Impact Parliament came about, what we do, what we believe in, what is our unique selling proposition, and all that. And that is basically what this presentation is and will be about. To the new members who have just joined, I say this at every inaugural, pre-inaugural presentation as we are having currently. For the old members, already knows of this. In 2021, I tell this story every now and then so that everybody understands where we came from and how our being came about. So in 2021, I just signed out as the then Speaker of Parliament for Whole Technical University at SRC. So in the second Parliament, myself and Honorable Jones were very active in the running of the then Parliament, which was the second Parliament. So we realized that there were a lot of lapses as far as parliamentary proceedings are concerned. Majority of the members were not bold enough, public speaking. So I was there one time, Honorable Jones called me. We could start something like this. So myself, together with Honorable Jones and Honorable El Kamako, who happens to be the Deputy Executive Director in charge of Humanitarian Affairs. So we started. We had our first Parliament sitting in 2021. Somewhere in August, we inaugurated the first, I'm not too familiar with the date, but I'll cross check. But in 2021, we inaugurated the first Parliament. And in August 2022, we inaugurated the second Parliament. Then we repeated the third, the fourth, the fifth, and now we are proceeding to the sixth Parliament. Now, as Honorable Jones said in his presentation earlier, he made reference to Honorable Adam Abana, and you realize that the people who had a little bit of education as far as student politics is concerned, you realize that their style of politics in the mainstream Ghanaian politics is kind of different from the people who are businessmen, engineers who just went to parliament by virtue of their popularity and what they could provide for the people at an material time. So the likes of Honorable Kudetua Blakwa, being from a student leader, Honorable Agbana, that Honorable Jones made mention of, and a number of them. You realize that their style of politics is different. So Youth Impact Parliament is presenting to us a real-time opportunity for us to learn and relearn. I say this every now and then, and some people disagree with me, that we are not the future leaders. If our crop of people and the way things that we are doing currently, things don't change, I'm sure that we'll be worse off than those who are there currently that we are always complaining of. Just cast your mind into the various student governance structures. Our SRCs, our teams, our GRASAC, our TESCONs, our NASPA. Look at the level of quote-unquote corruption. People want to become executive by virtue of them being popular and for the name's sake. But here in Youth Parliament, and that is where we come in, granting all of us the real-time opportunity to learn parliamentary proceedings, public speaking, and as well as holding cultural values. So that is why we realize that is centered towards achieving the particular aim, such that in the near future, we are going to produce very responsible future leaders, basically. So there are a lot of testimonies that will be shared one way or the other to the new members. To the old members already knows about majority of these testimonies. And the one that I'm always proud about is Honorable Bryce Solon Vixen. When he came to the one that I saw him, then I was speaker. To even stand up and introduce himself was a problem. Anytime I see any video of himself, of him doing any presentation every now and then, I say, oh, Father Lord, thank you very much. Because by virtue of Youth Impact Parliament, he has gotten a real-time opportunity to be able to stand in front of a lot of people to speak. I tell people that what we are doing in Youth in Parliament currently, maybe some of us want to do it for the purpose of engaging ourselves in things of this nature to learn one or two things. But some of us may not want to end it at Youth Impact Parliament. We want to take it further, so that the moment we get into Parliament, we understand the procedures by which a bill becomes an act. What goes into what particular itinerary of Parliament, what goes into what. When you stand and you are speaking, so that's why you realize that on social media, when videos of MPs pop up, you realize that this one there, you realize he's struggling to speak. And that is why majority of MPs don't speak on the floor. And those who speak on the floor of Parliament, they are people who get what they want. So I remember somewhere in 2022, I told Honorable Jones, I don't know whether he can recall that I can bet on my life that in the next NDC government, Honorable Jones will become the next foreign affairs minister. I don't know whether he can recall because he had prepared himself in that particular direction. And all what he has done from 2020 to 2021 towards 2024, all was in a ready preparedness to become the foreign affairs minister. And there is no doubt that he's performing and everybody is happy with him. So Youth Impact Parliament is equally presenting us with a real-time opportunity to do similar. Now, Youth Impact Parliament started in Ghana, and as we speak today, we have a number of branches across Africa and beyond. And as time goes on, you'll be made aware of the other branches. The other branches are very young at early ages. They are not as developed as we are, but with time, we are praying that an opportunity of this nature will get to them where they can equally grow and become bigger. So we are not looking at Youth Impact Parliament to be a Ghanaian youth something where it is about only Ghana, but Africa and beyond. And every now and then what I say is that we should be able to grow to the extent where issues of national development pertaining youth development, Youth Impact Parliament should be consulted, whereby you can issue a white paper on a particular subject matter. When issues of youth is being discussed, we should be given an opportunity on TV and radio stations to speak. And we have started that with our radio engagements that we have been on Stone FM. Is it Stone Radio or Stone FM? One of them. We have started that engagement. So the recognition is coming one by one, and we will definitely get there. Now, our unique selling proposition, as Honorable Jones has rightly said, right from the word go as we have started, we have every recording, as in video recording and pictures of our proceedings. So it gives you the opportunity when you speak, an expert of that particular speech will be drafted out of the entire video for you to post on the social media platform to grow. So, for example, when I introduce myself in Parliament and I greet the people of Ningo from Banco, so I remember in 2023, somewhere in August, after the inauguration of the third Parliament, I was the most popular youth in Ningo at that time because I posted an expert of the videos from the inauguration on my status. And one close friend of mine posted it on one of the youth platforms we have. And it was very simple. It was just bragging, telling the Youth Impact Parliament about what we have in Ningo, what you benefit from coming, and the whole. And everybody was happy. And you can equally have that. Honorable, what is his name? MP for Akachin of, what is his name? Oh, Hilbert Agbawadi. Hilbert Agbawadi has had the opportunity to be in that close contact with Honorable Peter Nochukwote, which is the mainstream MP, and the whole lot. I don't know the various constituencies that you guys are assigned to or is yet to be assigned to, but as the saying, you right in the corner where you are. And that is why it has become so obvious that there are certain MPs that no matter what you do, you cannot unseat them because they have worked tirelessly. So this is what Youth Impact Parliament stands for. This is what we believed in 5 years ago. And we 5 years down the line, when those of us who have been around 5 years ago, those of us who have been around, always when you look behind and you look at where we have begun from, you always be happy. You always be happy and feel fulfilled within your heart. And one of our friends, former House President 2020, so he said something. He said, it always seems impossible until it's done. I remember when we started in 2021, people knocked it because when we go for sitting, then I was one man majority. One man majority, one person or two people. Myself alone with maybe two people on the minority side, and we debate throughout because we believed in what we had started, and we knew deep down within our heart that it will pay off, and it is definitely paying off. So all members, all new members who are joining, I tell you on record that you are at the right place. Youth in Parliament is currently the most vibrant youth association or youth group or youth parliament in Ghana. We have others who, okay, let me reserve that particular comment. Let's focus on what we have had. So, once again, I welcome you all. I'm sure on the 8th of August, we will all meet in person where we'll put faces to the names we are seeing currently on this call. And we really enjoy what we have we have built. But one caution is that nobody by any means possible forced you to be here. In as much as we all want to learn and the opportunity is presented for us to learn, nobody forced you to be here. So times for seasons, then you're dragging your feet. There's something others are there need to be clear. You'll be referred to the privileged committee to deal with all those subjects. We have all these structures. And I remember in 2022, I personally voted against almost all my close friends in Parliament at that time because majority of them came for the seats by virtue of, oh, I want to be youth MP for Kaswa, for the, no. Everybody will sign up. So I'm begging of all of us on this call, and I'm imploring all of us to continue to learn online. And you realize that when you meet people who have gone to youth in Parliament one way or the other, when issues of national importance is being laid on the floor for discussion, we don't go, you realize that most of the time, we don't toe the political line. It's a clear set of judgment, what is supposed to be. And I'm very sure that with the new members who have joined, we will have the opportunity to also learn. In the beginning, it will be very difficult, but I can tell you on record at the time, as the accounts will say, you'll be aware fine. All normal members on the call, I thank you very much for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about the Youth in Parliament, which you'll be knowing more in the coming days. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, our Deputy Executive Director, for a brilliant presentation there. Please take note of your questions after the presentation of the Right Honourable Speaker, and we will take all your questions. So yes, Right Honourable Speaker Adam Osman, could you please proceed to display your screen?
Hello, good evening.
Evening.
Just a moment. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, that's fine. Honourable members, good evening to everyone on the call. Executive Director and Right Honourable Amano, because he was my speaker then at HTU, so I'll call him that respect. Good evening to you all and everybody on the call. Honourable members, as Right Honourable Amano has spoken, Youth Impact Parliament is a platform where you learn a lot. So you should engage in everything that goes on in the house. I won't shame. That's what I want to tell you. I myself, I joined Parliament. I joined Youth Impact Parliament at the second Parliament. At that time, I was the MP for Ekumpong constituency, and later I moved to become the Youth MP for Ashaiman constituency, where I serve as chairman of Sports and Games Committee. In the third Parliament, I retained the seat for Ashaiman. I became the chairperson of Foreign Affairs. And during that time, I was acting as the second Deputy Speaker of the House. So, looking at all the experience I've gathered, the House decided that I become the speaker for the fourth parliament. And after the fourth parliament, I was also with him as the speaker of the fifth parliament. Honorable members, it's not an easy journey, but with dedication, discipline, you can sail through. You too, you can become one of the successful members of Youth Impact Parliament. This evening, I'm here to present on parliamentary rudiments, conventions, standards, and practices. What we have to know about Parliament, how Parliament operates. So without wasting much time, I know some of you are old members, so we are just reminding ourselves. And for the new members, when you hear something that you don't understand, you can ask questions. But the practical aspect, you will see it on the floor of the house. That means in the chamber for yourself. So let's dive into my slide. So when we say parliament, what does parliament mean? So parliament simply means a legislature. A legislature. That's simply put. And when you go to other jurisdictions, they call their legislature different names. Some are referred to as National Assembly, some are referred to as General Assembly, Chamber of Deputies, National Congress, Council of Nations. When you hear all these names, and Federal Assembly too, when you hear all these names, don't be confused. It simply means their members, like their legislature. So a legislature is just a lawmaking body of a country, a state, a county, a region made up of elected representatives from politically demarcated territories called constituencies. So we cannot have a legislature where we don't have full representation of the people. So when you go to Ghana, an example, the country called Ghana that we are in, we are demarcated into constituencies, which is 276. And every constituency has a representative in our legislative arm of government, that is our parliament. So parliament can never be complete if you don't have total representation of the entire population. That's what you should keep in mind. So when you go there, you are representing a certain people. When you are in parliament, you are representing people. You are not there for yourself. So chambers of legislature, when you in the world generally, we have two types of chambers of legislature. We have the unicameral legislature, which is the one chamber system, and bicameral legislature, which is a two-chamber system. So as I said earlier, depending on where you find yourself in any part of the world, their legislative arm of government has different names. So when it comes to Ghana currently we are running a unicameral legislature, which means we only have one chamber of parliament where decisions are made. It's just one. So when you go to countries like Singapore, Finland, Montenegro, Uganda, and Ghana, we call our legislative arm parliament. When we go to Angola, Tanzania, Zambia, Kuwait, and Hungary, there are so many examples. They call their legislative arm National Assembly, which is also a unicameral legislature, meaning they have one chamber. And when you go to countries like Samoa, Tonga, they call their unicameral legislature Legislative Assembly. Their chamber is called Legislative Assembly. But for bicameral legislature meaning they have two chambers. there's two chambers. We have the lower chamber and the upper chamber. The lower chamber and the upper chamber. So what it means is that decisions that are made at the lower chamber are reviewed or they have a second look at it at the Senate, that's the upper chamber, before laws or decisions are being made. So you go to countries like Argentina, Paraguay, Spain, Rwanda, they have bicameral legislature. So their upper chamber is called the Senate, and their lower chamber is called Chamber of Deputies. And when you go to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the US, the Thailand, the Trinidad and Tobago, for them, their upper chamber is also called the Senate, and the lower chamber is called the House of Representatives. Pakistan, Madagascar, Zimbabwe, Congo, Kenya, their upper chamber is also called the Senate, and their lower chamber is called the National Assembly. For UK, they have a distinct name where they call the upper chamber House of Lords and the lower chamber House of Commons. So that's how it is. Depending on the country you find yourself, they have different names, as I said earlier. So who are the head of the legislatures? I believe you are familiar with the word speaker, because for speaker is the popular name that we hear people calling people presiding. So for most of the head of legislatures worldwide, we call their presiding member speaker. But when you go to the Senate, you go to countries where they have two chamber system, they call the leader of or the head of their upper chamber the president. In some countries, they call them chairpersons. And also, in some jurisdictions, they call them presiding members. What does Parliament do? What does Parliament do? In Ghana, we all hear when it gets to campaign period, you hear our people making all sorts of promises that when they go to Parliament, they will build roads, they will do this, they will do that, they will just see. Let me tell you, for Parliament, they have only three things they do over there. They do only three functions. They perform only three functions in Parliament. That's the mandate of Parliament. Number one is the lawmaking. So they are supposed to debate, amend, and act laws for the country. They are supposed to check and repeal or update outdated laws when it comes to lawmaking. And they are also to ensure that laws reflect the needs of the society. They shouldn't make laws that will harm us as a country. That's one of their mandates, lawmaking. The second is representation, meaning they are there, as I said, Parliament consists of elected representatives. So they are there as representation of the people. So they are supposed to represent the interests, the concern, and aspiration of citizens or their constituents. And they are supposed to serve as a link between the people and the government. So that is their representation function. When you go to the third one, that is the oversight function. The oversight function. So they are supposed to check they are supposed to monitor the activities and performance of the executive arm of government. But when it comes to oversight, I don't think it's only the executive. I think they are supposed to check the other equal arm of government, that's the judiciary and the executive. So they are supposed to ensure that the government policies are implemented effectively. And under the oversight too, they are supposed to hold public officials accountable through questions, investigations, and through committee works. So we'll talk about parliamentary committees later on. So this is the mandate, or this is what Parliament does. Any other thing that you hear apart from these three things, the person is lying to you, or the person is saying something that he wants the people to vote for. Parliament or a parliamentarian has only these three duties, main duties. The other ones, when you look at it, other functions, it will surely fall under one of these three duties. So let's look at our mother parliament, which is the Parliament of Ghana. I'm using the Parliament of Ghana because it's our mother parliament, and most of our activities or the way we do our things, we get it from our Parliament of Ghana. So when you look at the structure of the Parliament of Ghana, as I said earlier, it is a unicameral legislature, meaning we don't have any upper chamber. And we have currently 276 constituencies in the country. So as we have 276 constituencies, surely we should have 276 elected members of parliament. When you go to the Parliament of Ghana, the Speaker is the head of the entire structure. And the Speaker office is created in our 1992 Constitution. You can find where the office of the Speaker was created, Article 101 in the Ghanaian Constitution. And it says that the Speaker shall preside at all sittings of Parliament. The Speaker shall preside over all sittings of Parliament. So when you go to our Parliament of Ghana as it stands right now, the Speaker is the first officer of the House and is the third in command in the official order of precedence, meaning after the President and the Vice President, is the Speaker that is the third person. The office of the Speaker was first created in the then Gold Coast era in the year 1950. And since then, all constitutions that has come into being in the history of the Republic of Ghana has made provision for the election of Speaker as the head of the legislative arm of government. So as I said earlier, the Speaker presides over all the sittings in the House and is assisted by the first and second deputy speakers. So when you come here, you see our voting deputy speakers. So they are supposed to assist the Speaker in discharging his duties. The Speaker is required to be impartial and not debate matters on the floor. And the Speaker does not vote in Parliament. This means that when the votes are tied, the motion is lost. The Speaker is also like the chairman of the Parliamentary Service Board. And for the Parliamentary Service Board, I will speak about it for everyone to understand. Currently, the Speaker of Parliament is Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford-Bagu, is the 13th Speaker. When you look from the history of Ghana, is currently the 13th Speaker. When you go to I've spoken about the deputy speakers already. They are supposed to help the Speaker in discharging his mandate. When you go to majority and minority leaders, so when you go to the House of Parliament, mostly they are divided into both two sides. In Ghana, we have the majority and minority. And it's not always two sides. Sometimes there can be more caucuses in Parliament. depending on the jurisdiction you find yourself. But in Ghana, we have the majority and the minority side. And for them, they have leaders. So both the majority and minority leaders are principal spokespersons of their respective caucuses. They ensure member discipline within their caucus, the cohesion and effective conduct of business in the House. The majority leader is the leader of government business, and he provides leadership to the majority caucus and at large extent to the whole House to ensure the smooth and effective conduct of government business. And for the minority leader, is also the leader of his caucus. And for him, I think his role is to articulate alternatives, criticize the government policies. He should find loopholes. He should put governments on their toes. And among other functions, that's what the minority leader does. And depending on, in Ghana like this, as I said, we have only two caucus. And when you look at the current state of the 9th Parliament in Ghana, we have 4 independent MPs. So as it stands now, they are supposed to select the side that they will do business with, because according to our constitution or our laws, when they reach 7, they have to get at least 7 independent MPs for them to create their caucuses. So I hope in the near future, as the country democracy continues to grow, we'll have an independent caucus in Ghana's parliament. Let's go to the parliamentary service. For the parliamentary service, it is headed by the Speaker. The Speaker is the chairperson rather. So the parliamentary service is governed by the Parliamentary Service Board and is composed of the Speaker, who is the chairperson, 4 other members appointed by the Speaker acting in accordance with the advice of the Committee of Parliament, and the Clerk to Parliament is also one key composition of the parliamentary service. So for them, for the parliamentary service, they are supposed to promote the welfare of members of parliament and staff of the service. They are supposed to appoint the clerk to parliament and other members of the staff of the service in consultation with the Public Service Commission. So for the clerk to parliament is a non-partisan public servant and public advisor to the Speaker. It doesn't only advise the Speaker, it also advises members of Parliament on the privileges, practices, and procedures of the House. The clerk always presides over the first sitting of a new Parliament for the purpose of electing a new Speaker. And for the clerk does all the administrative work in Parliament. He ensures the day-to-day administration of the service. He or she ensures that the preparation of the order paper, vote and proceeding, the official report, the Hansard, everything is intact. And he also authenticates bills passed by Parliament for the assent of Mr. President or whoever is supposed to assent to the bill. So that is it for the structure of Parliament. For Ghana, we are in the 9th Parliament, and as I stated earlier, the Speaker is Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagu. Honorable Bernard Anyafo is the first Deputy Speaker. Honorable Andrew Siamamu is the second Deputy Speaker. And the clerk to Parliament, we have Mr. Ebenezer Ahuma Jetro, who is the clerk to Parliament. He is assisted by 3 deputies. Mr. Camilo Coleman, who is the deputy clerk, Legislative Management Services. Ms. Gloria Ikuya Saku Chinewu, she's the deputy clerk, Corporate and Financial Management Service. And the last deputy in charge, deputy clerk in charge of Information Management Service, and the person of Ms. Rosemary Atasafode. They all help the clerk in the day-to-day administration of Parliament. This is the majority leadership. For this, I know everyone knows the majority leader, Honorable Mahama Yarega, Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Kweku George Wickett Hagan, Majority Chief Whip, Honorable Wilson Nelson Jafemako. Honorable members, let me say for a fact that the Majority Chief Whip is assisted by 2 other whips, deputy whips, the first and the second deputy whips. Same for when it comes for the whips, both the majority and the minority has the same number of deputies. So when you go to the minority leadership, the minority leader, we all know him, right? Honorable Alexander Kwamina Afenyo Martin, Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Patricia Afeji, and the Minority Chief Whip, the MP for Nsawam Madoji, Honorable Frank Anodompe. Timeline of Parliament of Ghana. The Parliament of Ghana is supposed to run a tenure of 4 years, but for Youth Impact Parliament, we run a tenure of just 1 year. Just 1 year. And parliamentary year is divided into sessions. So meaning if they have 4 years, every year is a parliamentary session. So they have 4 sessions in their tenure. And for every 3 months, when you categorize their sitting, every 3 months, you call them meetings. So after every 3 months, they go on recess, 1 month recess. So after every 3 months, we will say like they have done meetings. So it is called meeting. And for the sitting they do every day, the business they do every day, they sit in Parliament every day. That's where we call them sitting. So there are 30 sittings in a meeting, averagely. There are 30 sittings averagely in a meeting. And for Parliament of Ghana, they sit from Tuesdays to Fridays mostly each week, and from 10 a.m. in the forenoon to 2 p.m. or the time the House decides to close. But for Youth Impact Parliament, we sit every month, every single month. So from the pilot sitting, no, let's say from the first Parliament, Youth Impact Parliament are start every month, every single month. That's why we are saying that we are the most vibrant youth parliament in Ghana and West Africa. I think in the world, we can even take the credit in the world, because I don't see any youth parliament having the same dedication and discipline as we have. Parliament is governed by, number 1, Constitution. Number 2, our standing orders. Status, Speaker's ruling, what we call the President, and the Convention and Customs. So this is what guides the Parliament of Ghana in their day-to-day activities. And when it comes to Youth Impact Parliament, we have a constitution and the standing orders. We have convention and practices. We have a president that we all follow. That president means past decision of the speaker. So I believe most of you have the the Constitution, and the standing orders of Youth Impact Parliament. If you don't have it, at the end of the call, notify us and we'll make it available for you to start learning before you get to Parliament. Before you get there, you should master most of the rules because this is what will guide you as a youth MP. So these are some of the parliamentary documents. The order paper for sitting, it contains the agenda of sittings to be done, vote and proceedings, and official hazard, meaning the true records of the House, legislative and constitutional instruments. That's for our mother parliament, and bills and acts of parliament. So for Youth Impact Parliament, we have successfully passed 2 bills and it has become an act after assent by the executive director. So we have successfully passed 2 bills into law for Youth Impact Parliament. I believe as time goes on, we will be passing more bills as a house when the need arises. So the committee system in Ghana's Parliament. So for the committee system, majority of the work of Parliament is done at the committee level. Forget the plenary session that we always see. For that one, is just a little aspect of the parliamentary work. Majority of the work is done at the committee level. That's where the actual scrutinization of policy documents take place. The actual scrutinization of bills, the instruments, the CI, the constitutional instruments, the interrogation and investigations, that's where it takes place. So at the committee level, all members of parliament have equal opportunity to contribute on matters when it comes to the committee level. You see, when it comes to the plenary session, that is the floor of parliament, because of time constraints, it's not everybody that can speak. But at the committee level, everyone is given opportunity to add their voice or bring their expertise into bear. For committees, committee members are either nominated to be part of either standing and select committees. And for that one, it is done by committee on selection. And for when you go to the committee levels, we have the chairperson who oversees who is the head of the committee, and we have ranking members and other honorable members. And for when it comes to committee, at least every member of parliament is added to at least a committee. So you cannot be a member of parliament and you tell us that you are not part of any committee. So for the committee systems in Ghana and YIP, we have 3 types of committees. We have the standing committees, select committees, and the ad hoc committees. For the standing committees, they are committees that we need for let me say for the day-to-day administration. So they are permanent committees. We need them. They are crucial, very, very crucial in running parliament and the administration of the country. So example of standing committees are the finance committee, the appointment committee, the business committee, judicial committee, public accounts committee. They are all the standing orders committee. They are all they are all essential in running the affairs of Parliament and the country at large. When it comes to select committees, it is established for specific subject areas, drawing on members' expertise for detailed inquiry. So for this type of committee, it is created based on subject areas. So example of select committees is the Defense and Interior Committee, Select Committee on Education, Land and Forestry, Committee on Health, Road and Transport, um, Foreign Affairs, etc. These are all types of select committees. And when the need arises to examine a particular matter, or when there is issue that needs a committee to be set up to investigate and report back to the House, this is for, let's say, a temporary investigations, or this is not part of the standing and select committees. Other committees are set up to examine a particular matter. Example, inquiry, if there is an allegation in the chamber or anything. Other committees are set up to do investigation and report back to the House. And you remember during the vetting of our ministers, you remember there was chaos in the mother parliament. Mr. Speaker set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the matter and bring the report to the House. That's the type of ad hoc committee. But as of now, for that issue, I don't know the outcome of that committee report because it has not been made public. So this is an example of ad hoc committee. As I said earlier, we passed a bill. We have passed 2 bills into law. And so as members of parliament, I think you should have knowledge how bills are passed into law. So first of all, there are 2 types of bills. We have the private member bill and government bill. So for the government bill, it is introduced by government, and there's the minister in charge of the sector mostly presents the bill to parliament when it's government bill. But private members bill is where a member of parliament or a group of members in parliament draft bill for the House to take consideration so that it becomes law. So first, the bill is introduced by the Minister of State or the private member. That's where the clerk reads allow the long title. So after that, the bill is referred to the appropriate committee. So meaning when let's say the education bill, currently Parliament has passed the Ghana Defense University Bill. When it was led by the Minister of Education, it was referred to the Committee on Education to go through the bill and report to the House. That's why I said that most of the work is done at the committee level. So after the bill is referred to the committee sits, they invite public hearing and inputs from the general public and people who have expertise. They hear their points, factor everything, and then create a report. So the committee, after the committee gather all their inputs and their findings, their recommendations and everything, they report back to the House by laying the report before the second reading. So at the second reading, they debate on the principles of the bill alongside the committee report. So after they debate the principles of the bill and they see that, oh, the bill is a good one, when we adopt this bill, it will be in the interest of the Ghanaian populace or the people that we are drafting the bill for. After that, after the debate, then they move to the consideration stage, where they take every aspect of the bill clause by clause. Clause by clause, when there is amendment, when someone proposes amendment, the speaker puts a question, and when the ayes have it, the amendment is ordered to be part of the bill. And when the House rejects the amendment, it is negated. So after the step-by-step or clause-by-clause consideration, it moves to the third reading. So at the third reading, the bill is passed. That's where the clerk read aloud the long title again. So after the bill is passed, the bill is transmitted or transported to the President for assent by the clerk to Parliament. When the bill gets to the President, according to the Constitution, the President either signs the bill and it becomes law, and that ends it, or the President refuses to assent to the bill. So it's either I sign or I don't sign, because I'm the President. You can't force me to sign. But when the President refuses to sign or assent to a bill, he shall within 14 days after its refusal state in a memorandum to the Speaker any specific provision of the bill which is to be considered by Parliament, including recommendation for amendment. And he also has to inform the Speaker that he has referred the bill to the Council of State for consideration and comment. So when you receive the bill, either he signs it or not. If he doesn't want to sign, it's not comfortable with some of the provisions, he can send it to, you communicate to the Speaker within 14 days. And he can also refer the bill to the Council of State for their input. So we inform the Speaker that he has referred the bill to the Council of State for consideration and comment. When the Council of State receives the bill, they will consider the President's statement of amendment, and then the Council of State will consider the bill and report to the President with or without amendment. So they'll also look at it and advise the President for him to either sign or not. So for urgent bills, when it refers to the Council of State, they have 72 hours. But for normal bills, that's bills that don't come under certificate of urgency, they are supposed to complete their recommendations, their input, their report within 13 days, and within 30 days after the third reading in Parliament. So after the Council of State brings the recommendation, the President writes back to the Speaker with the specific provisions of the bill which should be considered by Parliament. Then after that, the bill goes back to Parliament, where Parliament shall accordingly will consider the bill, taking account the comments or recommendation made by the President or the Council of State. So that's how bills are passed into law. And after assent, the bill becomes operational after it's gazetted. I think for gazette in Ghana, it takes 21 days. So for parliamentary procedures, this is where I want honorable members to pay attention. For all the honorable members, this is a reminder, and for our new honorable members joining the House for the first time, this you have to pay attention. So for parliamentary procedures, there are accepted rules, ethics, our custom and conventions that govern our sitting as a house or legislature. The objective of this procedure is to allow orderly deliberation upon questions of request to the organization, just to make us be civil, be orderly in our deliberations. And for Parliament or for ours, we have adopted our constitution and standing orders. It contains the parliamentary procedure, our accepted rules and regulations that governs our things or our ways of doing things in Parliament. Honourable members, am I still audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's proceed. So for motions, when it comes to Parliament, we have motions. Motion is just a formal proposal by a member that the House take a certain decision. So when you hear someone is moving a motion, it's just telling the House or making it known to the House that, oh, we should take a certain action. So when you look at our other paper, you see, let's say the Ghanaian, in the Ghanaian context, Parliament of Ghana, you see them every day. They move motion. Even our chamber, we move motion. We move a lot of motions. So for motion can either bring a new business before the House, or we should look at a certain decision. So for motions, we have different type of motions. We have procedural motions. For the procedural motion, it's just for the House, is for the day-to-day activities of the House. But a motion, when it comes to motion, a motion is always debatable. You can argue a motion, you can amend a motion, and a motion can always be changed. For a motion to stand, it needs a majority vote. It means that for the House to take a certain decision, more than half of the House agree that we should take the decision. That's why we say a motion requires a majority vote in Parliament, meaning more than half of the people in the chamber agree that we should take a certain decision or the decision that the motion is saying we should take. As I said, you can always amend a motion. So after a motion is moved, you can move for the amendment of the motion. For that one, it needs a seconder. After a motion is moved, you always need a seconder. before the motion is debatable, is amendable. Types of motion. As I said, we have procedural motion. These are type of motion required for business of the day to progress. So you hear motion for the adoption of the order paper, motion for suspension of the House, motion for consideration of reports, adoption of reports, motion for adjournment. These are all procedural motions for us to proceed with the business of the day. Private motions are filed by members, meaning they are not part of the business of the day. When it comes to voting in the House, in the main chamber, when it comes to Parliament, we have three types of voting. We have voting by voice. That's where you hear the speaker saying all those in favor, or we say them. Let me use the motion for adjournment like this. So the motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Then you hear people saying aye. All those against say no. Then you hear the ayes have it or the nays have it. Therefore, meaning when the ayes have it, the House is in favor of the motion. And when the nays have it, meaning the House is generally not in favor or against the motion. So that is voting by voice. Voting by head count is where we do voting openly. You see members, that's where we do head count. You see members, you see either members rising up in support of a certain decision. Sometimes you see them raising their hands, depending on the preference of the speaker. Sometimes you see them outstanding. That's head count. So we count the people individually. That's what we call the head count. The last type of voting is secret ballot. So for that one, it is done for sensitive issues, very, very sensitive issues, to protect the stance of a member of parliament. So the last time we had a secret ballot in Ghana, was it the e-levy? Okay, I'm not sure, but let me use the 8th Parliament. When they were voting for the speaker, they did secret ballot. They did secret ballot. So that's they could have done head count, but because of the nature or the sensitiveness of the issue at hand, that means maybe I don't want the decision my caucus is taking or the stand of my caucus. Because you know that members of parliament, before they are Ghanaians, they represent a certain electorate or constituencies, even though they are part of a larger party, a larger caucus. So when you don't side with your caucus, you can vote in secrecy, depending on the subject matter on the floor. You can vote against the decision of your caucus. Who cares? Because the secret ballot, they won't know who has voted against the decision of the caucus. So that's what we mean by a secret ballot. For members, I always entreat honorable members to always debate in parliament. So these are rules of debate. For debate, it's just a platform, or it's where honorable members share ideas on a subject matter before the House in order for the House to reach a decision on that subject matter. So for Parliament, Parliament mostly debates statements to the House, reports late to the House, bills at consideration stage, private members' motion, the LI and the CIs, and any other business that requires debate. So I believe this week the finance minister will be presenting the mid-year budget to the House, that is the Parliament. After that, they will debate it. When it comes to our chamber, Youth Impact Parliament, we always debate motions, issues of national importance. You see us debating it. We always debate it vigorously. After that, when we need to send a white paper or some documents to the Parliament of Ghana, we always do so. My honorable members, I'm sorry about that. Let's proceed. So this is a pictorial view, or this is the plenary session of Parliament. This is our mother Parliament, now the Parliament of Ghana. You could see our MPs seated at the horseshoe shape. The majority always at the right side of the speaker, and the minority at the left side of the speaker. And looking there, you see the table office in front. You see the table office in front. You see the clerks to Parliament, the clerks. Okay. So during the plenary session is the most visible aspect of parliamentary. This is what we all mostly see, because the committee work and other works is always done backdoor. It's now that we have Parliament TV that display committee work in Ghana for us to see what a certain committee is working on. But normally, the plenary session is the most visible part of every parliament. For them, they enact, as I said, they always debate, they enact laws and everything. For honorable members, when you want to speak on the floor of Parliament, first you have to catch the eye of the speaker. The speaker has to recognize you. After that, he will call you and permit you to speak before making a submission. And when the speaker gives you the opportunity, first, you need to introduce yourself. For our chamber, you need to introduce yourself. YIP, for YIP, you introduce yourself. But for our mother parliament, because of they already have name tag, and the speaker know them, for record's sake, for them, they don't introduce themselves. But for the purpose of our records, for the recordings of the House, for us youth MPs, we always state our name and our constituency before making submission. So after thanking the speaker, you introduce yourself and you continue with the submission you want to do or you want to make. When you are making submission on the floor of Parliament, you always address the speaker. It's only the speaker you're addressing and nobody else. And after that, after making your submission, you end by appreciating the speaker, the opportunity the speaker has given you. So, example, let me say I'm moving for the adoption of a report. Let's say a business committee report, or let's say the foreign business committee report. So when I'm given the opportunity, I say, oh, arise. So after standing up, I will say, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am Adam Usman, representing the people, or I'll say I am Adam Usman, Youth MP for Ashaman constituency. Then I'll proceed. I'll say, Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House adopt the report of the business committee. Thank you. Then I'll resume my seat. So you see, I've acknowledged the speaker, I've thanked the speaker, I've moved my motion, I've appreciated the speaker at the end of my submission. And one mistake we always do in the House is that we leave the House without the permission of Mr. Speaker. So even when you want to be absent, this is not only when you are leaving the House. Even when you want to be absent or you not be able to make it, you write formally to the Speaker of Parliament to grant you apology of absence, to grant you permission for you to be absent, or else our standing orders will go against you. So when you are addressing the speaker, you address the speaker by the office they hold. So at any time, the speaker or any of the deputies is presiding, you refer to them as Mr. Speaker or Madam Speaker. That's how you refer to them. And all honorable members in the House, you refer to the person with the title honorable. You cannot come to the chamber and be like, Mr. Amano seated there, or we say Father Jones or Brother Jones. That one is all parliamentary. We refer to everybody in the chamber as an honorable member. And in the House, too, as I said, Mr. Speaker does not take part in any of the debates of the House. I said it earlier when I was talking about Speaker. And any member who defies rules of debate or deviates from the order paper shall be called to order by Mr. Speaker or any other member of the House. So when you are speaking on the floor of Parliament, you should be cautious how you speak, the language you use, how you choose. You should always choose your words carefully. And when we are talking about a particular subject matter, you should stick to it. You should stick to the subject matter under discussion. You shouldn't go and bring another topic altogether and bring it whilst we are not done with one topic. So, honorable members, when you are debating, you can be put to order when you are misleading the House, or you are going out of order. Mr. Speaker can call you to order at any time. And Mr. Speaker, because the House belongs to Mr. Speaker, as I told you, the Speaker is the head of the legislative chamber or legislative arm of government. Because he's the head, he can ask you on the floor of Parliament to resume your seat, or you should pause when you are making a submission or you are delivering on the floor. And when Mr. Speaker asks you to do this, you should do so without hesitation. So when you are when you are debating on the floor of Parliament, you should make sure that every information or every piece of information you are bringing out should be accurate. We should be able to verify them for the. We should be able to verify them. It should be accurate when you are quoting figures, when you are quoting people or information to support your debate on the floor. You should always make sure that the information you are putting out there is should be verifiable, because as honorable members, you are not supposed to fabricate information. You are not supposed to mislead the House. When you do that, we will say how do you say, we will hold you for contempt of Parliament. And when you are debating in the chamber, you shouldn't bring any printed document. You shouldn't print. You are not supposed to read from any book. But you are not supposed to read from any book. But you can refer to your point or the notes you bring or the papers you bring to refreshing your memory as you are delivering. So when you bring a document, let's say you are given the opportunity for you to debate, and then you stand up, then you hold a piece of paper, then you start reading to us. That one will not accept. It's not acceptable in the chamber at all. At all. So for the purpose of rising up in the chamber, you see, we have for YIP, we are open to all manner of persons, and we have in our parliament, we always believe in inclusivity. So we have our brothers who are differently abled. So for them, when they are given the opportunity to speak on the floor of Parliament, because of their condition, they are not able to stand. So for them, Mr. Speaker always give them the opportunity for them to sit and address the House or contribute. You get it? But apart from that, any member who is fit must stand on the floor of Parliament and deliver or contribute to the subject matter on the floor. We don't clap in Parliament, we don't whistle, we don't yell, we don't make noise in the chamber at all. It's unparliamentary, it's not considered, it's not accepted at all. And as Honorable Amano said, for us as youth MPs, when we are making submission on the floors of Parliament, we are not supposed to show our partisan inclination. So whether you're MPP, NDC, that one, you should put it in your pocket. When you come to the floor of Parliament, that's why you are not supposed to show that. First of all, before you become a party member, you are a Ghanaian. So for us to be able to build our mindset, to raise the next crop of leaders the country needs, we believe we have to do away with partisan politics. So you should refrain from displaying your political colors when making submission or when you are making input or when we are debating. And you don't come to the chamber be making submission based on hearsay. Everything you say there goes into record. So it should be factual. Everything should be factual. And you are not permitted to come into the House with any harmful object or any harmful substance. You get it? So you shouldn't deviate from subject matter on the floor. So when we are speaking on economy, we should make sure we finish speaking on economy before we go to road. That's basically what I mean. You are not supposed to verbally assault anyone or verbally abuse anyone when you are making your submission. Make your submission. If you don't agree with someone's opinion or someone's stance, you should find a democratic or diplomatic way of disagreeing. You should refrain from making comments that would disorganize the house. At any point that a member makes a submission that is derogatory or is not acceptable by the house, Mr. Speaker can, or the leader of, or the person presiding can tell the person to retract their statement at any time. And the person should do so accordingly without hesitation. And when it comes to our parliament, you are not supposed to speak on a subject matter more than once, according to our standing orders. Because when you are given opportunity to speak on a subject matter, you are not supposed to contribute more than once for us to take, for us to enable other honorable members make their submission. But in the case where we are at the consideration stage of a bill, for that one, the rules are always relaxed for members to speak more than once. Or when you want to correct something, or another member when speaking mention your name and you want to respond to what the honorable member has said. For that one, Mr. Speaker can give you the opportunity for you to speak more than once. Dressing of members. For dressing, I don't want to go deep into dressing. But honorable members, what I want to say is you should dress decently. You should dress decently. You should know your color combination. You should know your color combination. You cannot wear a pink down and you are wearing a green top. Honorable members, we all know it's not right. So for men, you are supposed to, no, for all honorable members, you are supposed to always be in official, official, official. You should be in your long sleeve shirt, your African print, your suit with tie. You should tuck in when you are wearing executive or corporate wears. For African print, we know we don't tuck in, so you should wear your proudly African print honorably, and you shouldn't dress with bathroom slippers. I believe in the floor of Parliament, the most appropriate footwear is shoes. Whether you are a female or male, the appropriate is shoes. And for our females, sometimes they wear heels based on their dressing. For our females, I want to beg you, you should refrain from wearing um, too tight clothes and clothes that shows parts of your body. So for that one, I don't want to go deep into it because we all have moral standards. We should stick to it. So for rulings of Mr. Speaker, so Mr. Speaker rulings is always like the verdict of a court. So when Mr. Speaker rules on a subject matter, it is final. Unless the House or members of Parliament wants Mr. Speaker to revisit his ruling, they may move a motion for the Speaker to reconsider the decision. To reconsider his decision, but they cannot challenge the ruling of Mr. Speaker. So as I said, for contempt of parliament is when you have done anything that you do that goes against the rules and convention of parliament. So you are not supposed, as an honorable member, you are not supposed to display disorderly conduct. That you are not supposed to misbehave at any time, any point in time, whether you are before the plenary session or at the committee level. You are supposed to, you are not supposed to present frivolous, false, or fabricated information to the House. You get it? So anything that is not accepted according to our laws, our constitution, and our standing orders, any conduct that you do that is doesn't align with our standing orders, we refer to you as you are in contempt of parliament. So intimidating members, obstructing members, anything. So when it comes to white, we have interventional science, and for interventional science, it's for us to get orderliness in the House. It helps the presiding member knows who and who to call next. You get it? So for point of order, this is listed according to the precedence. So the point of order is the highest, the point of contribution is the second, point of correction, and point of information. So let's start with point of information. That's the list, the last one. So when you want to introduce a subject matter or you want to speak on the floor of parliament on a specific subject matter or a new subject matter, you indicate points of information. Other members, am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So for the point of information, it comes up on the floor when any member wants to make a submission to contribute to the item on the order paper under discussion or to bring a new subject matter. You get it? So it can be a statement, a motion, a question, or a contribution. A point of correction, which is the C, is a submission or statement, question, or answer that has come up when a member intends to make a correction. It always comes up when a member intends to make a correction under discussion, under a subject matter under discussion. So that's point of correction. So you are there to correct certain things someone has said on the floor of parliament. So the speaker has the right to prevent any member who earlier indicates his or her desire to correct a subject matter, but ended up not correcting the subject. So when we see point of correction, when one honorable member raises a point of correction, Mr. Speaker gives him the opportunity to correct himself, and he doesn't do the correction. Mr. Speaker can choose to ignore it the second time because he gave you the floor and you didn't do the correction, you didn't do the honorable thing. Point of contribution or a follow-up, as we all call it in our chamber, is when you want to contribute to the last member's motion or the statement, or you want to contribute to the subject matter under discussion. That's where you do the point of contribution. And the last one is the point of order. And for that one, it must be heard at all times. And the speaker shall give his ruling before we move on. So when we see the point of order, the speaker always takes it before we proceed with what is on the floor. So for point of order, it always breaks the let's say a submission. So you can only see, or you can rise on a point of order or put someone into order when someone is making a statement and is traveling outside the scope of the matter under discussion, meaning the person is not speaking to the subject matter under discussion, is moving towards a different topic altogether. That's where you see point of order mostly, or a member is on the floor and is using improper language, is using unparliamentary language, or when the person is infringing or is going astray from the constitution or the standing orders of parliament. That's where you see the point of order. So the point of order is always when you see a fist, it signifies the point of order. Point of contribution is or follow up. We say 3 fingers brushing. Point of correction is just 2 fingers. How you do too sure. That's point of correction. And point of information, you see 1 finger in the air. When you see that one, you know the person presiding will know who to call on, because if there's a point of contribution and there is another point of information, the presiding member, this interventional science will enable the presiding officer or the person presiding or the speaker knows that, he has to take the point of contribution before it goes to the point of information, which is introducing a new subject matter altogether. So last but not the least, let's talk about the Maze of Parliament. The Maze of Parliament is the official symbol of the authority and powers of Parliament. So for the maze, it always stands upright before the clerk's table during every sitting of Parliament. So meaning without the maze, it means Parliament cannot sit. We don't have authority as a house. So the only time you see the maze tilted or is not standing up upright is where the house is at the consideration stage of a bill. That's where we tilt the maze. We relax the rules of the house. As I said earlier, this is the time where you see that the rules of the house has been relaxed, so members can speak more than once on a specific subject matter. So that's it for the maze. And when you go to the Parliament of Ghana, the maze is relaxed. The only time you will not see the maze is the maze is relaxed is at the consideration stage, and when the president visits the chamber to deliver a State of the Nation address. That's why you don't see the maze. You see the stage thought representing the power of as a nation. So that's for the maze. So I think I've exhausted my scope, and this is the time for contribution. If I've omitted some things out, I think the other facilitators can just chip in, contribute, and if you have questions, I think you can ask too. Thank you very much for listening.
Wow. That was such an elaborate presentation by the Right Honourable Speaker. Please, let's give Mr. Speaker a round of applause for a brilliant presentation. Honourable members, this pre-inaugural orientation is relevant for a reason. It is to introduce you to the procedures before the first sitting. After the first sitting, the orientation we are going to have is not to teach you this same procedure, but to teach you the depth of legislative work and how we do as if in Parliament. So today's one is just laying a foundation for the entire Parliament to start. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for a very elaborate presentation. Wish you more grace and money. Yes, when the money can, don't forget us. Honorable members, please, questions. Do you have any questions to any of the facilitators? Any question to any of the facilitators? You can raise your hand. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand. I think, okay. Mr. David, Mr. Abdul, you have witnessed the orientation from the first presentation to the last. Any questions so far?
No, sir. Please, I don't have any question.
Okay.
Everything was clear. So.
Nice one. Yes, Abdul.
So far, I think I have been enlightened, and then I don't know the English word to use, but so far I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Thank you very much.
That's good to hear. And then on that note, we'll bring today's session to an end. We'll take a closing remarks and votes of thanks from Deputy Executive Director Aman Odina. And then Abdul, you give us closing prayers. Amano, closing remarks and votes of thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jones and Honorable Adam Wasman and everybody present in the call. I want to thank all of you for making it this evening, and to all of us who have stayed behind throughout this entire period. God bless us all. Thank God. And as the presentation that have been done, I'm sure we have already taken a take from them whilst we prepare ourselves towards the 8th of August 2026 for the dissolution and the inauguration of the seat Parliament. I thank everybody for attending. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Executive Director. And Mr. Speaker, any remarks before we take closing prayer?
Oh no, I think Honorable Amano has said it all.
Thank you. Abdul, closing prayer. Abdul, closing prayers. Hello, Abdul. Closing prayers. We are still waiting for you. David, please can you give us closing prayers?
Sorry, I wasn't unable to unmute myself.
Okay, please go ahead.
Sorry for the delay. Yes, I'm a Muslim, so I'm going to pray in Islamic way.
Sure.
Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah for granting us this opportunity. We thank the Lord for our facilitators and us, the incoming youth MPs, as we undertake this journey. We ask for understanding, wisdom, and knowledge, so that whatever our leaders have for us, they will impart it into us. We'll also learn, understand, and put into practice. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Subhanahu quddus rabbul malaikati wa subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin.
Amen.
Amen.
So I cannot actually itemize all of them while standing here. Thank you.
Honorable Amano, let's have the clerks introduce themselves. Then after that, we.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Victoria Nuchivi, Acting Deputy Clerk Relation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Rebecca Nkopten, Acting Deputy Clerk Accounts. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and the House. I'm Sandra Maosekpe, Acting Clerk Operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker in the House. I'm Mary Tetega, Clerk to Parliament.
All right. Yes, Honorable Amano.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity. I respond to Amano, Youth MP for the good people of Ningo Pampang constituency. I want everybody to understand that this is a house of record keeping. And with whatever we do, Hamza will capture it as such. And honorable members must pay attention when other members are speaking. In my introduction, Madam Speaker, I'm glad that you have given me this opportunity to clear my name.
You have been put to order.
Madam Speaker, my good honorable member need to listen to his language when speaking. Thank you.
Wait, please state what he mentioned.
Yes, I strongly believe that there is.
Just state exactly what he said.
Okay, I said my good friend. Sorry, I've not captured his name very well. But my good friend who just spoke from the minority caucus. When he's speaking, he should listen to his language before speaking. Thank you. He said, honorable members should pay attention. Is he telling us that we are asleep while sitting here? Of course, we are not asleep.
Thank you, honorable member. Point well noted.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's quite unfortunate that the said honorable member who wishes to put me in order and correct me had rather committed the greatest of offense currently. He was of the view that as if they are sleeping.
So he's now telling his members that they are rather sleeping. I have not said that. Out of the view that whilst we are speaking and listening to each other, we must pay rapt attention to each other, so that in the likelihood that we want to make any correction, we can quote what the person has said correctly. In my introduction, I made mention that Ningo Bampram constituency produced a lot of sorts. In Honorable Soreji's introduction, he's rather refuting and saying that I'm of the view that we are the leading sort producing constituency, which I have never said that. I get it. Again, when Honorable was the deputy minority leader was speaking, he was of the view that they produce yam. He had never stated that they are the best yam producing constituency in Ghana.
Thank you, Honorable.
I'm of the view, Madam Speaker, let me land, please. Let me land, please. Madam Speaker, let me land, please. Let me land. So that is why in my preceding comment,
Honorable members, please, you have been put to order. But I don't want us to discuss this for a long time. I understand what Honorable Amano is saying.
Thank you, Madam Speaker in the House. I am Kendall Elizabeth Mante, Youth MP for Domiabra Obom constituency and the chairperson for Forum of Women Parliamentarians in this House. Our honorable member, the Deputy Minority Leader, said only is a description. And so if Honorable Amano is speaking for himself, he should speak for himself. He shouldn't defend someone and then try to mix up the whole situation. So Honorable Amano, defend yourself and leave Honorable Robert for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. One word noted. So again, I wanted to make a lot of corrections. The other member who introduced himself as the youth MP for Amenfin West, with a concluding statement that the best come from the West. I'm sorry to tell you that now the West is coming from the West. The West is coming from the West. And and I don't want you to carry that statement going forward. Amenfin West, Wasai Kropon, is the current headquarters of Galamsey. And I don't know whether you know your constituency very well. Honorable member, I wish to correct you that the West is now coming from the West, which is Amenfin West. So I want you not to carry this particular statement outside and be telling people that Amenfin West is the best because it's from the West. Galamsey is currently ongoing there. The land is being distracted. And the honorable members who died in the tragic accident a couple of days ago were traveling towards that direction to launch, how do I put it, the responsible community mining program, and they died along the line. So, honorable member, they were traveling to the West, and the West happened there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Amano. On the same subject matter, please, on that note, I kindly advise all of us seated here that when an honorable member stands up to speak, you listen before you make your contribution or follow-up. And that ends it, please. So I am Constantina Etona Mafi Agbanola Oduga, Acting Deputy Speaker and Youth MP for Okere constituency. So before we proceed to the second part of the other paper, let's have a short remark by Mr. Joshua Elikem Amegashiviglo, CEO of Group Hub and Land Realtors. Let's welcome him.
Fantastic. I hope it's still morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I want to first apologize. The first time I've been to Parliament, it was from the obsession of Right Honorable Jones Amagashivigolo to go to Parliament. I just dropped him off and left. Today is my second time. I have never witnessed a parliamentary proceeding. I'm really impressed and I like what I see. If I could speak English like the people who have spoke by now, I would want to be a parliamentarian when I grow. But I think I'd rather be friends with everybody here so that when we become parliamentarians, I'll be your friend. I want to say kudos to all of you. I'm impressed. God richly blessed you. And I want to apologize that if I do something that is not right, please don't stop me and charge me like you are doing to each other. Pardon my ignorance. I was pretty bad at communication. Okay, my name is Joshua Elikema Megashibiglo. I'm a civil engineer. And yes, I'm the founder and CEO of Groove Hub. We produce music, live music, because I'm a bass player and a digital marketer. I'm also the founder and lead realtor of Black Sap Realty. I sell lands. I used to sell lands just in Accra. Thank God the lands in Goa are becoming more expensive. So I'm here to sell some of the little lands left in the town. And I'm also a farmer. So I am the founder, and this morning I was harvesting some cassavas of Ugbe farms. And not to say too many things, I also have a company that does construction. And since you guys are parliamentarians, that might not mean anything to you. So we've been supporting this project for some time now, and I'm glad I came today. So at least they say put your mouth where your money is, or put your money where your mouth is. Which one is right? Both. So today I came to see whether it's Photoshop or it's real. And I must say I'm really impressed. God bless you all. So Joe said I have to give a speech. I'm curious whether the speech will be to convince all of you to come and buy land or building from me when you become rich, or to buy land and building from me so you might become rich. But whichever one it is, let's leave it to the gods. You can check me out on social media to learn from some of those stuff. But I wanted to say just one thing. We started off as musicians, and we wanted to become pastors. It was our first trait of leadership. And my mom gave us a very sound advice, I'll call it. She said, if you want to become a pastor, you have to at least go to school, study hard, get a profession, so that you have some means of livelihood. So that when you become a pastor, the church members will not disrespect you. That was one of the most insane advice I've ever had. I thought my mom didn't like a pastor. But I think I've lived for 3 decades and a little more. That was one of the best advice that I've had. If I were just a bass player trying to become a pastor, I would have had the most gross disrespect of my life from pastors, not even church members. I've had very gross ones from pastors. And it was obviously because they thought I was just a bass player. And bass players are people from, or musicians are people from maybe not very good backgrounds, who didn't have a work to do. They will say yes to whatever the pastor says and go to hell with us. There's a joke that your pastor will love you until you want to marry his daughter. Then you realize that you are just an instrumentalist. So I want to tweak that advice to the parliamentarians here and give all of you an advice we give Jones. It's good to be an MP, but the journey to becoming an MP is a very expensive one. I don't want the people from this place to call me or call other people or go out onto the street, say, oh, I want to be MP, please give me money, I want to campaign and the like. When you do politics, I hope all of you know that our father is a politician. Okay. Please don't tell his friends that I gave this advice. When you do politics and you are not equipped, you are not knowledgeable, you are not qualified, you don't have a job, you don't have a business, you don't have money, you will be a foot soldier. And when you are a foot soldier, you know the work of foot soldiers? Foot soldiers take a bullet for the king. It's a very hard one, but you might not live to see the victory. I hope you are understanding me. It's a very difficult one, especially in the times that we are. 8 people's lives were compromised, maybe because of one person. And just maybe that person was not even part of it. Look at the group the country is in. When you do politics and your pedigree is low, whichever party that you do the politics with, when they come to power, you will think the people who are in the war front are ungrateful to you because you're a foot soldier. That is if you live to even witness that day. I see a lot of elections and some people get killed. We do 3 days vigil for them, we give them state burial, and that's the end of their life. I want to encourage everybody here, since you are in school, are you still in school or now you are all graduates and working? Yeah. So those of you who are in school should study very hard. Okay? And start a business. If you're a very, very academic person, you are like gunning for a first class and stuff, you might not be able to run a business. So what you will do is to study hard and read, diversify your knowledge, get very knowledgeable, get the best of jobs, okay? Invest money into good places, learn, get mentors, and build capacity for yourself. Not just book knowledge, home sense, social knowledge, financial intelligence, and the like, so that you are capable. So that with or without politics, you will be a king. Then politics will be an opportunity for you to expand. I hope you understand me. I'll ask a question that I don't expect you to answer. Ibrahim Mahama or John Mahama, which one would you like to be? I didn't think you guys will answer. So remember that in your endeavors, don't lose focus and attention of yourself. Build capacity. If you are still in school, get a first class. It's a good thing. Get knowledge, make money, make friends, so that when the time is due for you to do politics, you will not be stranded. After doing food soldiership for some time, which is normal, you can get the opportunity to become MPs, ministers, board members and directors, and some of the good stuff that you would have desired. But if you are not deliberate about that now, you might get something, but you might never be happy or pleased with it. I hope you understand me. Yes. So thank you very much. It's quite a dry advice. I don't expect all of you to appreciate it. It will take maybe 5 to 10 years to understand this. When it was given to me 15 years ago, I told you what I thought of my mom. So I wish you all well, all the best in your endeavors. And when you decide to go for primaries, please call me. I will put some money into your campaign so that you will count me among your friends. Thank you very much.
Any comments from the honorable member?